Welcome to the Women's Fitness and Health Revolution podcast. There is so much noise on the interweb these days about what women should and shouldn't be doing when it comes to their fitness and health. Not only is it all too often tied to shame and fixing our bodies, it can also be incredibly detrimental to our health and wellness overall. The Women's Fitness and Health Revolution podcast sorts through the BS and offers advice and actionable tactile steps to support and build a better relationship to your amazing body through every stage of womanhood. It aims to break the cycle of keeping women in the dark about their extraordinary machines and revolutionize the way we move, eat, and live so that our daughters and our daughters' daughters look in the mirror and feel exactly what they are: fierce, beautiful, and capable of everything. The revolution starts here. Hello, and welcome to the Women's Fitness and Health Revolution podcast. Coach Kinsey here, and I am coming at you with a short and spicy pod today that is going to set you up with a whole slew of action items to walk away with to bulletproof your amazing body for a gentler, vitaler, and stronger transition through perimenopause. Whether you are in your 30s and 40s and looking down the barrel of peri and prepping your body ahead of time, or you're deep in the thick of it, baby, this episode is for you. One of the very best things we can do for our body at this phase of our lives, and honestly every phase of our life, is move it. When we are in perimenopause, we are losing estrogen production, we are losing muscle mass, bone density, strength, power, and all of this contributes to the long list, well over 100, of symptoms attributed to perimenopause: hot flashes, weight gain around the stomach, bad sleep, achy joints, dry skin, and so many more, as well as contributing to the slew of health issues both now and down the road: heart attacks, diabetes, and other metabolic disease, osteoporosis, sarcopenia, muscle loss, weakened immune system, cancer, neurological disorders like Alzheimer and dementia. But 'tis not all doom and gloom, even though I sort of set it up like that, didn't I? The point is, there are so many preventative measures we can take, and movement is one of the biggest ones. Particularly movement that increases our lean muscle mass, which bulletproofs our body from the aforementioned conditions. And yeah, I'm talking bulletproof from all of those aforementioned conditions, which is crazy, by the way. It's just the coolest thing. This kicks us off on our first, and in my book, the most important form of exercise we need to be including as we prepare, progress through, and pass through perimenopause: strength training. It is a non-negotiable. We must start building and supporting our lean muscle mass as soon as possible and keep doing it forever and ever and ever. Don't get overwhelmed yet, I promise. I talk about this a lot in other episodes of this podcast, so to keep this puppy short, I'm going to link to a couple of those episodes in our show notes. I'll link to episode 5, where we talk about how to start strength training for women. I'll link 14, which are 6 things that I wish I knew before I started strength training. 15, about the fountain of youth. Ooh. And 21, which is how do we know if we're lifting heavy enough to get strength adaptations. So check out the show notes so that you can deep dive into what this looks like for you and how to get it started like yesterday. Because, spoiler, it is truly, and I'm not just saying this, it is never too late to start strength training. Never. The internet may paint strength training with some kind of light, but the population it's the most important for in terms of overall health, vitality, and longevity: postmenopausal women. And the sooner we get started, the better. I always say this: think about your muscles like a bank account. We are just constantly making deposits, and the sooner we start to make deposits, the more we'll have in the long run. Other great resources, by the way, just to check out for a deep dive into the science on this area, and I think it's just super inspiring, are Dr. Gabrielle Lyon and her book Forever Strong, and Dr. Stacy Sims and her book Next Level. They both also, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon has her own podcast. Dr. Stacy Sims, if you searched her, has her own TED Talk, has been on like 1 million podcasts. They're easy to find and they're amazing. The good news about strength training If you're feeling intimidated or uncertain, which makes so much sense, and you are not alone, you only need to get started with as little as 2 30-minute sessions a week. And these can totally be done from your house. And at first, they can totally be done body weight. So check out last week's episode for all the reassurance you need. We talked about how often I quote unquote should be strength training, and also all those other ones that I dropped in the show notes, because they're going to be really helpful getting you started on this journey and feeling supported and like the baddie you are. So while in my book and many researchers who have studied the effect of muscle mass on healthy aging, the most important exercise to make sure you are including no matter what is strength training, there are, for my money, 4 other areas that I would include as vital. First, mobility. This could be yoga, it could be stretching, even some Pilates. The point is that as we lose estrogen and just age in general, our joints and connective tissues start to stiffen, and we can and do lose range of motion. So we need to mobilize to keep them lubed up. It truly is a move it or lose it situation. And brittle joints and bones plus limited range of motion makes us more susceptible to falls and injuries during the most mundane of things. Think like picking up a sock off the floor and pulling our back, or turning our head too fast when we hear a car beep and suddenly we can't move our neck. It also starts to shortchange our range of motion in our strength training, which again leaves us open for injury, but also we don't get the full bang for our buck in our workout. And if we're going to be spending time working out, we might as well get the most we can from it. Second one is balance. Our equilibrium is another thing that declines as we age, and balancing becomes more challenging. Therefore, falls become more dangerous. According to the CDC, in 2021, 38,742 older adults, or 78% of 100,000 people, died from unintentional falls, which is the leading cause of injury-related death for adults 65 and older. And I don't know about you, but I would love to avoid that, especially considering balance training plus stronger bones from weightlifting is a surefire way to do that. The third thing we need to make sure that we are practicing is, this one is maybe kind of surprising to folks, power. We lose up to 2% of our muscle mass every year in our perimenopause and postmenopause years. And if you are a gentleman listening to this, this actually goes for you too. You're also losing 2% of your muscle mass after a certain age. And that's if we're not actively working to create and keep it through strength training. 2% every year is a lot. You know what we lose at an even faster rate? Power, to the tune of 6 to 7% annually. And don't worry, this power, like all exercise, is on a spectrum. So I'm not going to tell you to swing a kettlebell if you've never lifted a weight, or bust out some burpees if you just got a knee replacement. But can you hop on a stationary bike and bang out 30 seconds of an all-out effort where you feel like you're going to die, and then follow it up with 3 minutes of just chill active recovery 5 to 10 times in a row? Yeah, you can. Peep Dr. Stacy Sims' work, who I mentioned before, on more ideas of how to improve power. She's done a lot of really cool research on how important it is for us to maintain power. She actually has a really good interview about it on the Hot for Your Health podcast with Dr. Vonda Wright, and I'm going to pop that in the show notes so you can give that a listen to. That's a great podcast in general for folks already in menopause and anyone who wants to learn about what that transition is going to be like. Fourth, increase your daily movement. Just move more. Check out the pod from 2 weeks ago where we talk about 15 quick actionable ways to increase your daily movement every day. This is so important to every aspect of our physiology, our digestion and metabolism, our skeletal health, our cardiovascular health, our mobility, our brain health, our sleep, our hormonal health, literally everything. So those are the 4, along with strength training, that I would say you got to do it. And you might be thinking, that is 5 things. I'm a busy human. It's hard for me to imagine doing a thing. But the best news is you don't even have to work out 1,000,000 times a week for 1,000,000 hours each time to fit these all in. There's a couple different ways you can do all of these things. The first would be you can literally combine them into your strength workouts. They'll probably end up being a little bit longer than 30 minutes just so you can get better effect, but probably close to 45, not more than an hour. And the way you would do this is you would warm up your body with balance and power. So maybe a little bit of mobilizing at the top too. Maybe you throw in like a balance exercise where you're on one foot for 3 rounds of 5 seconds. Or if you're balancing really well, 30 seconds on each leg. Or maybe you add in some rotation and then you hop on the bike for 3 rounds of 30-second all-outs followed by 3 minutes of active recovery. Then you strength train after your warm-up, and then your last 10 to 15 minutes are cooling down with mobility. So you're still only working out, quote unquote, working out twice a week. You're just now combining your strength, your power, your balance, and your mobility into those 2 workouts. Other ways to do it is I like to keep balance in the strength workout. You can keep it as a warm-up. You can also build it into your strength or workout. So you can do things like squat to a single leg balance, or a chair squat with one leg, or single leg bicep curls. There's so many variations that you can do with a balance. And then tack on, along with your 2 strength workouts, like 1 to 2 yoga classes a week, like 30-minute, 20-minute yoga classes just to get your body moving. And then 1 short 15-minute power workout, which you could either do on your own, or if you're like, that is now 5 days of exercise and that's crazy to me, or just toss your power before one of your workouts. So maybe before you do like a 20-minute yoga session, you do 15 minutes of power. So that's 2 ways, right? You either combine everything into 2 workouts, or you choose like 4 days with shorter workouts. And the daily movement that I mentioned at the very end, you just keep practicing finding ways to get up and move. Like I said, I've got a whole podcast on 15 things to jumpstart you on that one. The point is, as always, figure out what works for you in your life at this time right now, because that is how we get it to stick in the long term. What we do today probably isn't going to look like what we do in 5 years and what we do in 10 years or 20 years. So just do what works for you today and get it as a part of start to normalize it. Alrighty, Raiders. As promised, I wanted to keep this one super short and sweet and actionable so you can have it to come back to and share with your fellow humans who are coming up or in or past perimenopause, and just have something that you can snatch up ideas of how to move your body and bulletproof it for perimenopause. So to recap, 5 things in total. 1, strength train at least 2 days a week, 30 minutes each time, targeting all your major muscles. Check out the podcasts in the show notes for more. 2, mobility. 3, balance. 4, power. 5, move throughout your day. And alas, no new reviews to read yet. But I have a feeling that you're going to grab your phone right now and write a quick review while you balance on one leg. Boom. You just got coached. For realsies, though. Your ratings and your reviews and sharing this pod are how we together get this info to women all around the globe to help them revolutionize taking care of their beautiful machines and aging with grace, vitality, health, and strength. Thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to hang out and listen to today's ep. I sure do help. What I was going to say is that I sure do hope I help, but I guess the universe decided I sure do help, at least get you to laugh at me trying to say words. As always, if you have any questions or ideas for podcasts or information on how to speak, I would love to hear from you. Hit me up at kinsey@RaiderFitAcademy.com. I love hearing from you. Truly, it makes my day. And in the meantime, here's to a graceful perimenopause transition for us all. You and your beautiful body are so worth it. Until next time, Raiders. Aroo.